the sales were coming in slowly but steadily and then increasing. And so what we started to say is I had an excursion, Ford Excursion, and I figured out you can get 11 of those suckers in that excursion.
I think I counted 13.
Does that count the roof as well?
There you go. Playing Tetris.
So we were getting pretty big time when I'd fill up the excursion. And then it got to where, all right, I'm going to pull my horse trailer now. I could get like 40 in there.
Welcome to Y'all Street. Today, we speak with Sandy and Shannon Stevens of 7K Roping. Would y'all like a cup of coffee or a tea? We got a special tea for you. And we got you these. We got you the special tea mug, roping tea mug.
Nice.
And I got to tell you this story. So Evan and I got the shipment in, and we get these black mugs, and we're thinking, what the heck? They sent us the wrong mugs. We got these roping mugs for our roping guests, but sure enough, these are magic mugs, and evidently with the heat, it changes the exterior so that the roping shines through. So I'm really happy about this. Although this might not be hot enough.
Might have to go microwave it.
Yeah, we might need to go mic this. But anyway.
I can see it, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can see it. No, there, it's coming through. It's just taking a little bit. Look at that.
Isn't that neat?
Awesome.
Cheers, y'all.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Welcome to Y'all Street.
Appreciate it. Wow, that's cool. Look.
There you go.
Appreciate the tea accommodation.
Anytime. You're the first guest with teas.
I'm one of those strange people that don't drink coffee, never have drank coffee.
Why is that?
I don't know. I just don't like coffee. I don't like the flavor. I don't like coffee ice cream. None of it.
No
But
caffeine or?
I'll drink caffeine, yeah, just
Okay.
not coffee.
Interesting.
Well, it's funny because, when I moved I'm from the Northeast, so everybody in the Northeast drinks coffee. There's a Dunkin' Donuts on every corner where I grew up. And I moved down to Shiner, Texas, and nobody drinks coffee. Hardly anybody does. It's all sweet tea. They
Okay.
wake up in the morning, they get their sweet tea, and they dump a pound of sugar in it, and they're ready to go.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm delighted to have you on the program today. Thank you so much for taking the time. And so I want to get into you have a ranch in Marfa, and you live in Prosper. And so walk me through, I guess, the background of your family. And from what I understand, you have a long lineage and history in Texas. So let's just start there. Pioneers.
I do. A very long and proud history. So my grandparents, my grandmother's family and my grandfather's family each settled on ranches in Presidio County. My grandmother grew up in an old fort that was established out there, and my grandfather's family traded a general store that they had in Banquete, Texas, for the ranch out in Presidio County between Marfa and Presidio. And so
this is North Texas near Big Bend.
Southwest Texas or far west Texas.
Oh, okay.
So you know where El Paso is?
Yeah.
It's
so
not even close to El
All
Paso.
the way over. All the way over there. 8 hours from everything.
Shows you I'm geographically challenged.
8 hours from everything.
Yeah, so if you follow the Rio Grande down from El Paso, it's a couple hundred miles. And at times, my grandparents' ranch was almost all the way down to the Rio Grande. So very expansive desert, mountainous terrain area. My grandparents, when they met, courted is the word they used to use. My grandfather had a horse that was trained to ride, that he could ride at night and just sleep while the horse was going over to her place. But how they communicated was via telephones that were connected by the fence that happened to go all the way to each other's homesteads. And so as he was riding to go visit her or coming back, he would check the fence line to make sure the wires were all connected so they could communicate by phone.
Unbelievable. What year was this?
This would have been back in the maybe 40s.
In the 1940s, that's how they were still communicating. Look at where we are today in 2020, and we're FaceTiming people in China.
Yeah. So anyway, I grew up, out on the ranch there. Spent some time in El Paso with my father as well. But they had two daughters. My mom had three boys. So I have two brothers, and then my aunt had three girls, and so there were six of us grandchildren. And when we were born, our grandparents would give us a calf. and subsequently on our birthdays. And the business arrangement was that if the calf then grew into a cow that had a heifer calf, then the child got to keep the calf and put their brand on it.
Which is a girl calf.
What-
Girl
yeah,
calf
female
for people who
heifer.
don't
So
know what a heifer
is
is.
female calf.
Yeah.
And if it was a bull calf, then that would go to the ranch for paying the expenses. So the kids could build up their herd. At the same time, when each child was born, they were also given a brand. And the brand that I was given was the 7K brand. And my older brother's name is Cleet. His brand is C slash. My mom's name was Amy. She had a rockin' A. My younger brother got half circle V, which is her rockin' A turned upside down. The 7K kind of appeared out of nowhere. I think the story is that they were living on a ranch in Montana at the time. My parents were when I was born, and there was a 7K iron there, and they thought, hey, that would be a good brand. And I like to think that maybe them giving me that brand gave me 7,000 ideas to work towards in the future.
Well, I think as we talk today, we're going to talk about some of those 7,000 ideas. And so, Shannon, are you from Texas as well?
So I actually was born in Michigan.
Really?
And so I lived childhood in Michigan. So I'm well versed in snow and all of that. But we moved down here, me with my family when I was a child, to the North Texas area. And so
Why did they move?
they moved because my father actually was a builder, and the recession hit hard in Michigan at the time. And so he said, I'm just going to come to, and Texas was booming. And so he said, I'm just going to go to Texas for a few months until the recession lifts. And so he came down and found a lot of success, and the recession didn't lift in Michigan. But even so, the rest of us followed in 6 months, and we kept all of our house. We had a cabin and all that up there because we were planning to return. Well, we never returned because Texas is great and the economy is great, and it's been great to us. And after you live here for a while, you think, why would I want to live anywhere else?
Amen to that.
So I've lived down here most of my life, and we didn't live on a ranch the scale of what Sandy grew up on, but I did grow up, having cattle and horses and all of that.
So your dad went from living up in Michigan to coming down here, not just coming down here and like finding a nice suburban home,
Correct.
but getting cattle.
Correct.
How did that happen?
He was always a cowboy at heart, believe it or not. So even up there, he was born and raised in Toledo, Ohio, and he was the one in cowboy boots and all of that. So he was always a cowboy at heart. And then when we got to Texas and he had the opportunity, it was just a natural progression because that's what he always felt like he was anyway.
And he had never had any cattle up until that point.
Oh, no.
So he just dove right in.
Yes.
I would like to think I'm a cowboy at heart.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see, Evan. The longer you live in Shiner, the more cowboy
Hey,
you become.
I'm getting there.
Osmosis.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Sandy, you had mentioned that your parents were in Montana. What was the connection there? How did they end up in Montana when you had roots in Texas?
So my other grandfather was also in the cattle business, and he purchased quite a bit of livestock from Mexico, and he would import it and disperse it to ranch lands from northern New Mexico and Colorado, Wyoming, all the way up into Montana. And so he hired at one point my parents to manage the operations of one of the ranches around Billings.
So, how much of your time did you spend in Texas?
So I was actually born in Alpine, and my parents were living in Presidio. So that Montana ranch gig was sometime right after that time that I was born there. And it was Miles City now that I think of it, Montana. But I lived in Presidio County up until I was 8 years old when my mom passed away, and then moved to El Paso to live with my father. And so I was raised by my father and my grandparents after I was 8 years old.
That must have been a tough experience for you.
It was, but I had a great support system. My grandparents loved me, and my dad and stepmom loved me, and I had 2 brothers, and not too long after I had a little sister as well. And I inherited in all of that. Me and my brothers inherited a ranch that my mom owned. So I had a herd of cattle and I had a ranch, and my grandparents like, hey, you realize you got to figure out how to take care of this stuff. So
So for those, we have a global audience. So for those listening from around the world, what's it like for a young man growing up on a ranch? What was your day-to-day life like?
that's a great question. It's a lot of responsibility. But my grandparents, and my dad, they led by example. They worked very hard. When they first got married, they built a rock house and lived in it, and shot rabbits to live off of. And so everything that the cattle herd, the remuda, the horse herd that they developed was all out of their own hard work. And so me and my brothers have always tried to, follow their example in the interest of, our own interest, but for showing our kids, how they should live their lives.
There was I imagine a pretty deep sense of survival, that your survival was directly connected to the work that you were doing day in and day out. And, I think today that we're kind of removed a little bit from that. We're a little coddled, as it were.
Absolutely. And raising cattle over an expansive acreage like we had, you needed to be one with your horse so that you could, gather them and work them, brand them and earmark them, because it's wide open country. And if they got through the fence and you didn't have your marks on them, then you probably weren't ever going to see them again. There's a good chance they would end up in Mexico. And there's a interesting story. Me and my brothers were helping gather on a lower part of the ranch, not too far from the Rio Grande River. We call it the Black Hills Creek. The hills are kind of black, and it's very formidable territory, hard riding, lots of rocks. Well, anyway, me and my brothers came across this Maverick bull. This Maverick is unbranded. And we figured it was one of ours. It looked like the breed of cattle that we were raising. And so I decided I'm going to rope that Maverick bull, and we're going to, put an earmark on him. Well, I roped him and chased him for a little while, and then I finally missed my dally, and the rope slipped out of my hands, and the bull was heading south, And so me and my brothers kind of pulled up, and we rode our horses back to the trailer, and my grandfather asked me where my rope was.
How old were you?
And I was probably maybe about 11, something like that. And
About that age 11, and you're just out in the wilderness.
11 or 12, something like that. And so he kind of looked at me and said, well, you need to go get your rope. And what he was saying was that you're not leaving that bull calf out there, with the rope on it. Number one. Number two, you didn't finish the job. And so me and my brothers kind of looked at me like, okay, thanks for getting us into this. We went and tracked that rope, because there's clear drag marks down the jaw, so we could track and we finally caught up with him, and we put an earmark on him and let him go. And we never saw that bull again, but
you got your rope
I got my rope back.
Those are the lessons that live with you the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
And starts instilling that sense of perseverance and never quit attitude. And, we're going to obviously talk about the company here a little bit, but I imagine that there's, some of that still lingers through your day-to-day work life.
He remembers it so vividly too now, so many years later.
Well, and just to put perspective, when he said, go track down that Maverick bull and get your rope, that's not like riding across a pasture to go find it and get your rope. No, it's deep ravines and mountains and rocks.
And you got to find them in the middle of nowhere.
Those cattle are really good at, you'll see it 1 second and then it ducks behind a brush and you can't find it. So it was not easy task, I'm sure, to go find that rope.
When you said how important it is to be one with your horse, what does that mean? Describe that to people. What does it mean to be one with your horse? And what was that relation? What was the name of your horse, and what was the relationship like?
Well, my number one when I was growing up was Ghost. Ghost was a phenomenal horse.
Quarter horse?
Beautiful white quarter horse. He came off of some of the breeding out of the race horses that my grandfather had. He used to race quite a few horses in Ruidoso. But my horse Ghost came out of that breeding, and he was multi-talented. You could head on him, heel off of him, rope calves, do it all. And he and I were very much in sync. He took care of me as much as I, took care of him. And he wasn't the only horse I had. We tried to, do our best to train all of our horses to be respectful of us, while at the same time, teaching them and them teaching us, about working cattle, about how far to go around them, about how you hold them, we didn't try. So there's some people will try to force working with cattle. My grandfather taught me that you got to kind of be one with your horse and the cattle. You got to be 2 steps ahead of them in their thought process. Where are they going? What are they doing? And how do you maintain calmness when you're working with them, despite having a very small, relatively speaking, not a huge herd of cattle over a very large territory. They weren't wild. They weren't wild because when we worked with them, we always worked in a very calm manner, and that it was paramount that our horses were calm and that we were in sync with them, so we weren't fighting our horses, creating chaos, and making more work and trouble for ourselves and our livestock than was necessary.
So Shannon, you moved from Michigan, and at what age were you when you came down with your dad?
I was 13.
You were 13. And what was that experience like moving to Texas and now being around animals? Had you been around animals before at all? Or
So when we were in Michigan, we were in a rural area. So we weren't on a ranch, but I was very comfortable with animals. And so it was a pretty easy transition. My sister and I, for whatever reason, we always have been really students of nature. And so that was just a lifestyle that we always grew up with, was learning about nature. It was fostered by my parents, providing us with tons of information and literature and a desire to learn. And so when we came down here and we got into cattle and horses and all of that, it was a pretty easy transition because we always had been involved with animals. But it's a little bit of a different world for sure. You actually get in the thick of it. And Sandy's right, that relationship that you have with horses is can be a really good one. You're as dependent on the horse as the horse is on you. And when you have a good trained horse, you're not really commanding it what to do. It's your partner. Mm-hmm. And so when you're out there working cattle, your horse is wanting to work cattle just as much as you. And so it's a really cool lifestyle to grow up in. It teaches you a lot in a lot of different areas. My
daughters are completely horse crazy. You walk in their bedroom, there's pictures of horses everywhere. They're with the horses all day, every day. Did you have a similar experience? 13-year-old girl now around horses and spending a lot of time out there. What was that for you like?
There's good days and there's bad days. So there's all the days where you're out, in your pajamas fixing a fence and, rain or heat or whatever the situation. But yeah, animals, horses, it's just easy to bond with them. And we have a little bit different situation in that Sandy is much more of a competitor on horses. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really compete, but I just rode because I loved it and, rode trails and, dabbled in working with, cattle with the horses, but a little bit different upbringing as far as the competition factor.
So Sandy, as you kind of go through your teens and you're starting to start thinking about the next wave of your life. I know that you spent the majority of your career in engineering. How did that come about?
Well, I was always kind of inclined to be more mathematically minded, I guess. We did pretty well in the sciences and so forth in high school. In Marfa, not too difficult to do that, but so and my father was a pilot, and so I decided that I wanted to maybe go into aerospace engineering, maybe be a pilot, all these things. So I went to University of Arizona and studied aerospace engineering for a couple years, and then I realized that that was a little far fetched for me. Wanted to come back to Texas, and so spent a semester at Saul Ross before I transferred to A&M and ended up in civil engineering, and that's what I got my degree in. That's what I made a career of.
And how do we get from civil engineering to your own company in, the rodeo space, the roping space, all of the training equipment that you've developed? That's a big jump from civil engineering to
Yeah,
product
sure.
engineering.
So after I graduated, so throughout college, I continued to compete. My younger brother went to A&M also, and so we competed on the rodeo team. And after I graduated,
By the way, shout out to Texas A&M Rodeo. We're a sponsor of those guys. We love A&M Rodeo.
yeah, for sure. We also sponsor Texas A&M Rodeo, obviously. And so after I graduated, I wanted to continue roping, but it wasn't easy working in the middle of Houston. A white collar job, and then trying to compete on the weekends, and so my skill level kind of went downhill a little bit, kind of frustrating. Wasn't really getting to practice as much, and so anyway, just as an engineer, I started to thinking at some point maybe there's a way to make my equipment better to compensate for some of my own personal shortcomings. And there were things in the industry that had kind of sparked my attention or interest that said, people keep talking about this aspect. Why don't you, and more specifically, I'm talking about adjustments to lariat ropes. And so I invented a way to what I felt was improvements to lariat ropes. And I decided to figure out how to try to make it a reality and turn it into a business. That's how it all
So
started.
when you did that, when you were first making the rope and when you were designing it, were you thinking like, this is just going to make my life easier? Or at that time, did you have an idea of a business that early?
Probably a little bit of both. I thought, if I can develop something that works for me, then why couldn't I, figure out a way to produce it in a manner that could be distributed to the masses? And so that's kind of how the business started. Unfortunately, it was kind of a highly customized situation where ropers have their individual styles of roping, and so it was more like a set of golf clubs for ropes, which
That's a great analogy.
doesn't really fly with ropers, and it's hard to inventory and stock and too many SKUs. I gained a newfound respect for companies like Classic Ropes and Cactus Ropes, and those that have spent years perfecting their business and their product for sure.
And the year is, what year is this?
This was in the 2006-7 timeframe when I really kind of started to show some serious interest in that.
So, I actually started a company in 2006 as well. And my background, similar to yours, is engineering. I was an electrical engineer. And one of the things that I found about starting a company is that there's so much involved with building a business that you just have no exposure to, from finance to building websites to marketing to inventory management and accounting and all of the things that go into building a business. How much of that did you have kind of going into starting the business, and how much of it was just sort of learning on the job?
Most of it was figure it out. I mean, I had experience in managing clients in the business side of development projects and things through my career. But as far as like the logistics of sourcing products and testing and then the managing of the business, at one point I had an employer too, managing all that was just figuring it out.
Yeah.
It's like, and really the marketing aspect of it was the bigger challenge I'm an engineer, right? So you only got one side of the brain that works. So to try to relate to people, to the masses on a different level, and not try to sell them that your product is better, is engineered better
Mm-hmm.
This can't sell. So I had to kind of figure out.
What did you learn about marketing? What has worked? What worked and what didn't work for you?
Well, paying or working with professionals that don't really get behind your product
Mm-hmm.
is not a recipe for success.
Or even necessarily understand your client base, because
Exactly.
your client base is a very unique client base, and you either understand it or you don't.
So it did take me a while because, like I said, I kind of developed what I was doing off of out of my own interests, if you will, and then trying to push that into the market where I didn't listen enough. So it really taught me that you need to just listen to what the market is asking for, and respond to that, and it'll be a much smoother road.
How did you do that? Did you have like a mentor? Was it just straight trial and error? Were you searching out different avenues to kind of get that knowledge and get that wisdom?
Well, I didn't really gather it until Shannon and I ended up partnering together. I had, some additional product, actually an additional product that during the recession was still selling. And so, in 2011, it's when I ran out of money,
Mhm.
essentially, and realized that that I hadn't approached my first venture into entrepreneurship the right way, nor did I have the right product. But I learned from that. I developed products that I started developing products that were in high demand that didn't require marketing because there was a demand for it already, but I didn't have the money or the time to put into it. And fortunately, I met Shannon, and she helped. Push that's about the time the 7K roping was created. The name and the brand was created, and then it progressed.
Well, the brand 7K had been around forever since you were born.
Yeah,
but,
when I say-
but yes, as far as the brand of a product,
So if we say that we were created by the brand, we didn't create the brand.
Mm.
We made the logo, and it's pretty cool. We came up
It
with
is
that
pretty
together.
cool.
It is.
But the brand, the background that we've sat here and discussed is a culmination of that first Brandon iron that my parents gave me, and the brand that they put on my cow herd, and then the experiences that I gained trying to raise that herd and impart those same values in raising that herd that my grandparents and my father taught me onto our children, and so it all culminated in. And the timing was critical. It's like maybe it was the right it was written in the clouds that you're going to start a business when they're in the recession and it's going to fail, and you're going to learn, and then you're going to find somebody and you're going to see the way in a different light, and you're going to find your help and your partner that'll turn your next venture into success.
We've spoken with many successful people on this program, and consistently the theme is failure way to the top, and that trial and error and the willingness to take a risk and to fail and to try again and to fail. And I think the anybody that says that starting a company is easy is completely out of their mind. You touched on something that I think is really important, and for all the would-be entrepreneurs that are listening to the program, I often say cash is the oxygen of the business. And if you run out of cash, you run out of oxygen, the business dies. And what a lot of people don't anticipate, and I certainly didn't anticipate with the very first t-shirt company that I started, is that you can be very successful, building inventory and selling your inventory, but oftentimes with net 30 or net 60 terms, you're fronting the cash and waiting for those receivables to come in. And the bigger and the faster that your company grows, the more cash that the company demands. And so trying to anticipate or understand the cash needs of the company is just so fundamentally important. So that feeling of, well, I kind of ran out of cash is like, yeah, everybody gets that feeling, especially successful companies, because your company is outrunning your cash position at that point. But I am interested. Was there a breakthrough product for you that was really a turning point that really caught the attention of people in the industry?
Yeah, well, it's been a progression of products that, as Shannon and I have worked on this system, the system has gained more and more respect as being all encompassing for a broad spectrum of novice ropers all the way up to the professionals. That is like, okay, you're not a one. When I started the business, I was a one trick pony. When I said I had too much cash, I think that's often a problem with people that start companies is having money that you can burn through because you don't have the respect for the cash management and you don't let the business grow itself. You can pay for marketing. You can pay to hire people to do a job that you should probably be doing yourself. You can do all these things until you don't have the cash anymore. And it's like,
Yep.
well, I would have had the cash if that had been successful, right? So
Right.
how do you do it next time where it's successful? Well, you grow smart. And Shannon can elaborate on this and the progression of our products because it's been a well thought out process.
So one thing I want to address is the word failure. The ropes, truly, it wasn't a failure. It just was not really a sustainable business venture. Just because we still have people calling us for those ropes. It was a great product. It's patented technology that Sandy patented. It was a great product, and we still have a demand. But because it was so customized, I mean, I would spend a half hour on the phone with a person talking about how do you rope? How tall are you? How big a loop do you swing? Do you feed your loop? And what kind of rope do you like in your hand? And so the profit just wasn't there to sustain a business. And so really one of the other products right early on was the steer roping dummy. It was a great design, realistic. We had manufacturing, down. And that's kind of really the first part of what our system now, the Something Steer Total Training System, a Rope Something Total Training System. That was the beginning of that. And as far as marketing, we did next to none because when they say guerrilla marketing, that's what we had. We had great product and we had great customer service, and truly, I love our customer base. I spend a lot of time talking to them because I really enjoy hearing their stories and hearing about how they're advancing their training or they've bought this for their son or their daughter. So our business really grew on a great product and great customer service, and they did the marketing for us. And so that's really was the beginning of everything we are now is our customers spreading the word.
Shannon, can you talk about the system? You've referenced this training system, and help me understand what are all the components that go into a training system. So as we've discussed, I have horses, but we don't do any roping. If I wanted to teach my son how to be a roper, what would you recommend?
So one thing that's unique about our product line is that it is component based. There's not a one size fits all. Your family is different than my family, different than another family of what our training goals are. And so there's a lot of products on the market that they're great for, someone who's going to do team roping or someone who's advanced or someone who's a novice or someone who wants to do calf roping. Our system is component based. And so based on what your training goals are you trying to train your horses? Is your son just starting out? Are you been there, done that, want to get in some more practice? You can build your system with our products for what you need. So it consists of the steer dummy, the calf dummy, the steer sled, the calf sled. Both the steer and the calf fit on both of those. We have the horse that shoots out a sled from underneath. You can put the calf and the steer on that. And all of those products are completely adjustable for easy to hard, depending on what your practice goals are. And they're realistic. So when you're practicing, it's as close as you can practice to live cattle. And they're affordable. We try to keep our prices as low as possible. So It really is a unique system. So whatever the goals are of a family or a roper, they can tailor the system, build it one piece at a time. Maybe you're just getting started in it and it's like, I'm not sure. Let me just get a dummy so I can practice roping. And then it's like, hey, I
And
kind
then
of
it
got a
becomes
knock
an
for this
addiction.
roping thing. Maybe I'll get a sled. And so you can buy it one piece at a time and then build it as the interest or the need progresses.
So, we go to a lot of rodeos, we sponsor a lot of rodeos, and there's one activity that is just it's almost like magic to me. It's the healing
Mhm.
when the guy's roping and getting the heel of the cattle, and it's almost like I don't understand how the rope even gets underneath the
Yeah.
feet and
Why do you think I tried to develop a rope with more weight in the tip?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Healing is the most challenging and most rewarding. I'm not a golfer, but I see the frustration in people when they don't swing a golf club or hit the ball as well as they know that they can or have in the past. Healing is the same thing. It's like you can rope a steer so beautifully by 2 feet and then tell yourself, I'm just going to do that every time.
You're
And then
about
you miss 5 in a row and you're like, why the heck isn't my tip getting through? That's kind of the background. But I do want to go back to answer your question on that product.
Okay.
Because when you talk about, my background, the engineering, the ranching, where it all collided, it kind of collided a little bit with the ropes. But really, when I developed the something steer ground roping heading dummy, I designed that in CAD. I had experience in CAD, and then had gained some experience in sourcing, manufacturing, and so forth. And so, and as Shannon said, the guerrilla marketing, we were literally selling on Facebook. And then, Facebook wasn't even on Craigslist. We were selling
On
Craigslist.
Craigslist.
Yeah, we were selling. We
Sold a lot on
We sold a
Craigslist.
lot on Craigslist.
You're joking.
No, we sold a lot on Craigslist.
So let me, believe it or not, my mother, who's, I won't say her age, but she's older, she was our Craigslist person. And so she would just sit at home and she would post she'd have a goal of posting like 20 posts every day, in different cities on Craigslist.
And you had to learn how to avoid getting blacklisted by appearing to be a commercial. There was a time where if you looked like you were a business posting, then you would get kicked off at Craigslist. So we had to be very creative because we were selling in Phoenix and the California markets and shipping all over, and then Amazon came along.
Well, in Amazon, I will pat myself on the back. I was the first one in our industry, truthfully, of roping products to figure out how to get UPC codes and to put it on, because you had to have all of these codes to get it on Amazon. And, you talk about experience and how do you know, we just figure stuff out. And we just, we don't know how to do something, talk to someone, gain knowledge somewhere, figure it out. Anyway, I figured out how to do that. And I was the first one to get those type of products on Amazon. And now everybody's on Amazon. But that's kind of where it started.
It's one of the character traits that is very consistent among those that grow up on ranches is you just got to figure it out. We were talking to Derek Ratliff in one of these podcasts. You just got to figure it out because you're in the middle of nowhere and the thing is broken. You got to figure it out. And it just develops an attitude, a can-do attitude of, just growing through trial and error. And so around what year was this where you're starting
That
the
was
Craigslist
around,
Amazon thing?
13.
Yeah, 13, 14, 15.
It was like 13.
And this is really the time frame where it's the launch pad for the company. Like you're building the base. You talk about guerrilla marketing. You're building a client base. I'm sure there's loads of word of mouth, from one group to another. And now the company is starting to grow.
Exactly.
And how many people did you have at that time? It was your mom and the two of you.
Family. So
It was just us. Well, it was really just Shannon. 'Cause I had my full-time day job, but I mean,
and
again,
kids that were helping.
we did. We had Buddy and Hannah still at home, and Cole, and they would pack orders and help with.
So when we were so small time that even with the steer dummies, we'd get in orders and then I'd go to where the steers were stored, the manufacturer, and go pick up like 3 at a time. And then my son, he was little buddy, is what we call him. We'd go to the UPS store, sit on the sidewalk, tape the boxes, put the steers in it, shove them, and we'd like shove them in the UPS store. And then that was our shipping system at first. And then it got to where we're picking up like 10 at a time. And then we're getting big now.
He has a suburb. So when
Excursion.
So when we got together, I told her, I said, you're probably not going to sell too many of these dummies, but I don't know, we'll sell a few. So get some boxes.
Well, he said, these are kind of heavy, but you probably won't sell many of these. And we're doing the ropes at the same time. And it's like, yeah, these ropes are really not, we're not going to kill it making $20 on a rope, you know,
$5.
or by the time, yeah. So I could see these steers. It's like, this is kind of a sweet spot because there's next to nothing to do with these. We stick them in a box, we mail them out. People love them. We don't get returns. They're just awesome.
Good design.
And so, yeah, we just, it's like, let's push these more. And so we started pushing that. And where we have we see it as a whole company now. At first, I mean, it was a product.
Yeah.
It was a product that we, Sandy created more products to go with. And suddenly we have this full product line and a full company. But at that time, it was, sitting on UPS sidewalk and shoving boxes in the door.
So did y'all have like inventory in the garage? I mean, was everything just done out of the house?
We would have, it was done out of the house, but we would have a little bit. But, the sales were coming in slowly but steadily and then increasing. And so what we started to say is I had an excursion, Ford Excursion. And I figured out you can get 11 of those suckers in that excursion.
I think I counted 13.
Does that count the roof as well?
There you go. Playing Tetris.
So we were getting pretty big time when I'd fill up the excursion. And then it got to where, all right, I'm going to pull my horse trailer now. I could get like 40 in there. And that was like, we're really taking a risk because talk about a cash flow. We're really, we are pretty strategic and I feel like wise with our cash flow. So, we would inventory slowly and gradually and as needed. And, buying 40 at a time, that was an investment. And, but now we have a 40-foot trailer stacked high
With the deck over.
and we have to fill that up just continually. And as soon as it gets there, it's sold. So
at this point in time, you were just direct to consumer.
correct.
You weren't doing any B2B kind of stuff.
We weren't retail yet. And to like, you're still probably curious, like where were we doing this? So we have a horse barn in the, back of our acreage. And, over time, our horses got kicked out of the horse barn. Lucky there was an overhang, right? Like get some shade at least. But basically, our business took over the horse barn, and that's where we have been doing things for a long time until we have our plans approved for our new headquarters that we're going to be building.
Oh, congratulations.
In the very near future.
And was every order coming in at that point, was it almost like a little dopamine hit for you? Like,
Oh, yeah.
you hear the bell ring.
Oh, yeah,
and
it
you're-
was cool. Oh, there was no bell at that time. There was no Shopify
She
cha-ching
would
bell.
just call and she would just call me. We sold something.
Did you see that? We sold another steer, a blue one.
Was
But-
there a real turning point for the business? So you have this slow and steady growth and you're going from, 10 to then 12 and now 40 and you get in the trailer but was there a turning point where things really changed for you or was it just slow and steady all the way?
It was somewhat slow and steady, but the next big product was the steer sled that went with the steer. And so that took it to a whole nother level of training and a whole nother market. And so that took us several years to really perfect that and get the manufacturing down on that. But that was probably the turning point.
So that product, when we talk about being one with your horse and being part of a team, I mean the rodeo industry. So it's not just the competitive events and aspects of it, but the businesses that we deal with. The word team is just a common theme throughout the industry. Not like it's not that way, but in the Western and rodeo tight knit world, where you see these professionals helping each other out in the roping box when they're competing for against each other for $50,000 for a 6 or 8 second run or something like that. It's just really cool. Well, it's kind of the same thing, the teaming aspect with your horse and your team roping partner. Our steer sled was the first that was really designed for complete training, where two ropers can actually rope the machine together, stretch it, turn it, face it, and it, do the best you can with mechanical equipment, simulate a run, and a family can work with the parents, with their grandparent, with their grandchild, actually ride their horses together, and it's kind of slows things down. It's very interactive, and I think that product gained its place in the market, and people that really wanted something different that they could actually, not necessarily competitors, even just people that wanted something else to do with their horse in terms of training and so forth. They had an appreciation for our product, and so that product kind of gave us the confidence to continue with additional products moving forward.
And one thing about our products, because Sandy is a really good engineer, they are all engineered to break down into boxes. So a lot of other ones on the market, when they're delivered, it's on a pallet. It's huge. You get it in the arena. It lives and dies there. It never goes anywhere because it's so heavy and so big. Ours break down into boxes. So that gave us an edge of shipping straight to customers because we could ship it really inexpensively. So that was a major advantage when we started with the sled, because customers weren't looking at spending $500 on shipping. It was like $100 for the whole thing, and so that was a big turning point.
Plus, once again, going back to trying to appeal to the masses, even the youngest of new aspiring ropers and rodeo contestants. We wanted kids to be able to use their equipment, haul it around, and so we designed our stuff just to be more portable in general.
That's a really big deal, actually. I mean, that's a really big
Logistics will make or break a business. So the fact that Sandy had the foresight to make products break down into boxes, that's key.
So Sandy, you were saying earlier that, when you first started the business, you're an engineer, so you're using one side of your brain. So is Shannon sort of the other side of your brain in the business?
Oh, absolutely. We work really well together, and she, I'll be honest with you, I like to sell how smart I am sometimes. Like, oh yeah, you're so cool, you did this, and she's like, nobody wants to hear about that, man. Nobody cares, right? All they care about, what people want to know is it going to make my life better? Is it going to help me, be better at what I'm trying to accomplish, or have more fun with my family, have a more fun training session with my horse? What's it gonna? And so that kind of got me thinking. The more I hung out with Shannon, and listened to her thoughts on listening to customers and relating to them. More importantly, it's like, yeah, you know what? That's really what it's about. So, when we're developing these products, think about the interactive element of it, and how to sell a fun experience or a positive interaction, as opposed to, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. Well, Shannon, so is this the first business that you've started, essentially, or been involved in?
It's the first business that I've started.
So what are the learnings? What's the number one piece of advice you would give to somebody starting a business? Is it the customer piece?
Well, there's a couple different things. One is, yes, pay attention to your customers and truly care about your customers. I've spent, and I still do, spend countless hours just talking to customers, hearing their stories. And it's not because I'm trying to make a sale. It's because I truly am interested. So it's that. And then it's also, don't think that you're at a roadblock and there's nowhere to go. There's usually always a solution. And so you might have to turn over a few more rocks or think outside the box, as they might say. But there's solutions out there, whether it's logistics, whether it's manufacturing, whether it's developing the products. there's so many solutions out there. Just don't be afraid to find them.
That's great advice. What is the business like today? Give us a sense for what your distribution is like. You obviously have a great website. You're active on social media. Do you now also sell to other companies? What does that all look like?
So for a long time, we started gradually as we were having success, having dealers and stores contact us like, hey, can we be a dealer for you? And we didn't allow it for a long time because we really wanted to develop the product. We wanted to develop awareness of the brand. We wanted to make sure that 7K was being represented in the manner that we would want it to be. And so,
And we actually had decent cash flow because we were selling at retail.
yeah.
And so
Higher margins.
The margins were better. So anyway, continue.
But it's hard to turn your baby over to other people and trust them. And so gradually we got to the place. It's like, okay, we had some key dealers that were interested, and so let's start this aspect of our company. And so we started into the with dealerships, and that has grown. And so it started to be like maybe, okay, we're 75% retail, 25% wholesale. And then it got to be, okay, we're about 50-50 now. And then we had to change our mindset because it was like, okay, we can definitely see that we are transitioning more now to having more and more dealers. And it's not that we still sell retail and we still are connected with retail customers. And but our dealer network has grown huge. We have dealers all over the world, truthfully, not even just in the United States. So.
Has that been a big area of expansion for you? Is international?
Well, our Canadian market has been huge. We sell a lot in Canada. There's a whole lot of Western world in Canada.
Calgary Stampede is huge.
Oh, yeah. Australia, New Zealand, Costa Rica. We have a dealer in Costa Rica.
Really?
And we're told that we are known as the Costa Rican roping dummy.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, that's cool.
And the Netherlands.
In the Netherlands, really?
We have a dealer in the Netherlands, and they don't do just a lot of roping in the Netherlands, but they came and they wanted to sell the product, so they don't sell just a ton, but they do sell. And we have one product it's a dummy on wheels, and it shoots out of a chute, and so you rope it from your feet, and it's a whole lot of fun for whether you're a roper or you're
just
a
recreation.
kid or adult or just recreation. And so they actually travel with that. And we'll see video on social media, and they'll be in Italy at the European Futurity, and they have it set up. And the judges, when they're not judging, they're out there roping. It's kind of cool to see.
You said it earlier about like, you're selling an experience, and I'm sitting over here like, never done any of this in my life, but it sounds like
But now
I
you
was
want
just
to.
thinking the same thing. I'm like, you already got a customer out of this podcast.
right? Like, come on,
Totally.
lunch breaks.
Instead of cornhole, I want to be roping some dummies.
Like it goes out of a chute, and I'm like, oh yeah.
So
It's some pretty fun stuff.
It sounds like a heck of an experience.
I tell you, I mentioned timing. Timing has a lot to do with the timing of when I started the business, and timing get back in engineering, timing when we became partners, timing of developing the first couple of products. But really, one of the big boosts for us was the timing of the progression of breakaway roping as an event in rodeo. So I don't know if y'all how familiar you are with that.
Yep.
But over the last 5+ years, it's really taken off, and breakaway has become now a mainstay event in professional rodeo. And really, Martha Angeloni is a young lady that we sponsor that is a world champion, and she. I spoke to her, and she was so excited, and has been such a great ambassador for us, along with Riley Webb and some of the others that will probably
Shout out to Riley. Riley, I'm coming for you. You're getting on this podcast at some point. We've missed each other a few times.
But so when we developed the calf ground roping dummy, the something calf, around the same time that breakaway roping really started to take off, and that further gave us the confidence to invest in the something horse, which is the training tool for team ropers and calf ropers that has the option of a pneumatic system that pushes the calf out on a rolling sled. And so just continue to advance those interactive elements of our training system.
That's super exciting. I was reading before this podcast about the product line Rope Something, and it sounds like there's a little bit of a story behind that name. Do you want to talk about that some?
Yeah, there is. I have fond memories of something. So something was so I had mentioned earlier that my grandfather would import cattle from Mexico. Well, and my dad would fly him around to ranches in Mexico and in the States, and I would jump in the airplane and go to, these different stockyards and different ranches and so forth. Well, this one load of cattle was unloading at one of my grandfather's stockyards, and me and my brothers, we would help sort the cattle, the calves, when they would come off the truck down the ramp. And one cold morning, it was cold. My dad was wearing his blue jacket and coat, and this calf came, this little bitty gray Brahma looking calf, weighed next to nothing, came walking down the ramp, and he walked right over to my dad and started nibbling on his jacket. And my dad looked at me, he's like, I guess we're going to have to take this one home with us. I said, yeah, well, we got to name him something. And he said, okay, we'll name him something. So
I love it.
that's so we raised something. You can read the story online about something. He was a household pet and a pest at the same time. He would break into the house. He would turn the water on. He never turned it off. He would eat grapes and chips and gummy bears, and so we kind of developed our mantra, our tagline around Rope Something.
Kids would ride him, and he lived a long,
it.
happy life.
I love it.
At the ranch.
Yep, he did.
But so yeah, that's how we have the something steer and the something calf and rope something, and so that something was a real guy.
Yeah, he was the mascot of the Columbus Stockyards in southern New Mexico.
That's something right there.
That's something.
That's
Yeah.
something.
So to this day, it's 7K is a family business, and we haven't mentioned it, but y'all are married,
Right.
and I'm curious, what is it like working with your spouse, and how many fights do you get into per week in business?
Cool.
No, we both have pretty strong personalities, so there's times that we both are pretty sure about whatever the decision is, but we always come to some sort of understanding or compromise. It's kind of funny that during the day, he has an office, not the same place as mine, and so even though we're a married couple, we have Teams meetings all throughout the day. So it's a little different, but it's awesome because we work together, and my daughter Alicia, she works with us full time, so she's in the office every day, and her daughter Gemma, she's 4, she comes with her. So
Start them young.
yeah, so she's in the office with us, and there's times where I'm working on the computer at my desk, and she pulls up her chair on the other side of my desk, and she lays out. She's learning to read, and so she lays out her school books, and I'll be typing on the computer and then teaching her at the same time. So it's truly a family business. But
Yeah, it's fun. It can be challenging at times. When she said work, usually how it ends up is she's right. Let's just be honest.
Smart man.
It's the end of the day. But no, we work well together. I mean, we bounce a lot of ideas off of each other, and we make our marketing decisions. I think that we make together are kind of at this point, now that our product line is somewhat mature, although we have several new products in the making and so forth. But for instance, we collectively made the decision to get into the goat tying business. We listened to our customers and found out that there's a market here that needs to be filled. We didn't realize how large of a demand that market was, but all the products up to this one we had developed ourselves, and then Shannon actually came. I think it was Alicia that really caught initial wind of the idea of this company that might be for sale, Goaty, and so we looked into it and decided that you know what, that probably fits pretty well in line with our business model. It's a very well put together product, and it's engineered well.
Yeah.
Right.
So it has a similar story to ours, and that's why it kind of aligned as every product we sell are our own creations, and we've always said that. But then this lady contacted us, and the goatee is the goat tying dummy, and she's a little bit older now, and her dad created a version of it when she was little because there was no goat tying dummy. And so she always practiced with that. She became really a great goat tire. And years later, when she had a daughter, she pulled it out and said, you should practice on this. Well, then she saw a need for it and figured out a way to manufacture it and started selling it. But she really didn't try to market it at all. So, or very little, but it was a great product. And so she contacted us and she said, I just don't want to do this anymore, but I want it to go to a company with similar values. Cause it was just her and her husband, doing this business. And, so I said, well, let me take a look at it. And I looked at it and it's like, I really think this would go well with our product line. And we didn't have a goat tying dummy,
It wasn't on our radar.
wasn't on our radar.
This
but
is your first corporate acquisition.
Exactly.
It's another seminal moment in the history of the company.
Exactly. So once we acquired it, I sent an e-blast out to our dealers and said, hey, just so you know, we now have goatee. Let me know. And within 5 minutes, my phone was ringing off the hook. And it's like, I want 5, I want 10. And it's like we sold out of
exciting.
everything.
Oh yeah.
And it's,
Amazing.
It was amazing.
but we're very appreciative that Cindy trusted us with the history of
Absolutely.
her product because we want to carry on the legacy of her father who created that for her. And so we don't want to take away anything from that. And it's been a good merger with us, not really an acquisition as much as just like merging the two products.
Good product.
Yeah.
So where can people find you? What's your domain?
We're at 7kroping.com. We also have a spot on there that lists our dealers. If they can look for a dealer near them.
And are you on Instagram or Facebook? Or
Oh yeah, we're on Facebook.
At Rope Something on Instagram.
Yeah.
At Rope Something on
At Rope Something on Instagram, 7K Roping on Facebook.
YouTube.
We have a
We have
YouTube channel.
A YouTube channel that has. So one thing we do like to do to support our product line is put out informational videos.
training videos?
Yeah, training videos and just general informational videos. And we have our pro team that I mentioned before is out there explaining the benefits of our products as well, which they believe in. So they've contacted us at times, ordered before.
The best ropers in the world are using your products. It's
Not they came to find our products is what it gives me pride in knowing that they've actually some of the best ropers in the world have sought us out for the benefits of our products to train with and to put on their clinics with. They really appreciate the value of our products in training the youth.
Well, Sandy, Shannon, congratulations on all your success. Just incredibly successful business. Another great Texas company. And let's all go out there and rope something.
Right.
Can't wait to put my order in.
Thank you all.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.